Hey everyone, this is DWS Darius, and today I want to give you guys a look at how I prepared these large pieces of driftwood for this aquarium. Okay everyone, so right now you're looking at my 350 gallon aquarium. So when I was setting up this tank, one of my main goals was to make it look as natural as possible. And one of the best ways to do it is by sourcing your supplies from nature. So all the rocks in this tank, they came from a nearby river. Most of the driftwood came from a nearby river. I also sourced them from different streams and other places, but basically all the decorations that you see in this aquarium came from the wild. Now this is no new topic. This is very common in this aquarium hobby. When you get stuff from the wild, you definitely want to be careful when you put it into your aquarium. You want to treat it because it can bring hitchhikers to your aquarium that you can't see in plain sight, but then over time you start seeing all these problems, and it's because you didn't really prepare the stuff that you gathered from the wild. Some of the things that can come from your rocks and driftwood include different types of algae, microorganisms, different types of parasites that will attack your fish, and just overall they have the potential of bringing problems into your aquarium. And that's why it's always recommended that you treat your different, whatever you get from the wild, it's recommended that you treat it, that you make sure it's safe before you put it into your aquarium. Now the most common method of preparing stuff from the wild for your aquarium is by boiling it. People put it in boiling water, and what the boiling water does is pretty much kills everything that is alive on it. So all the parasites, all the algae, it automatically gets wiped out when you boil it. However, of course, that's not always the option. A plain example is right in front of you in this 350 gallon aquarium. All the driftwood in this aquarium, most of the rocks, all of this stuff is just way too big to be boiled. If we take a look, starting from the left, we have that piece of driftwood. That one is maybe about 3.5 feet long, and in diameter is maybe about 8 inches wide. So definitely that's not fitted into any pot. And then in the center we have this little piece right here, which is about maybe I'm going to say 3.5 to 4 feet long. Same thing, it's not going to fit into a pot. And of course the last two pieces on the right side, these two, one of them is like they're just really big. That's what I'm trying to say. They're way too big to be put in a pot. Same thing with these rocks. I have some pretty big bulges in this aquarium, and you can't put these and boil them. So what do you do when you cannot boil them? Now preparing this driftwood was a two-part process. I did this a couple of months ago back when it was summer, and I do have a little bit of footage so you guys can see how it looked. But the first thing that I did was I washed all the rocks and driftwood with a pressure washer. Now it's important that I use the pressure washer because when you compare a pressure washer to a regular garden hose, a garden hose with a nozzle is able to put out 100 psi, while a pressure washer, the one that I use, put out up to 3000 psi. So there's definitely a lot more water force, and that stronger water force just does a more effective job of washing away everything that we want to be washed away. So yeah, I washed off all the rocks, all the algae that I saw on the rocks. While I was washing it, once again, I don't think the camera picked it up too well, but I was able to see the rocks change colors. That's because I was washing off all the different layers of algae and dirt that was on them. Same thing with the driftwood. I washed off all the surface driftwood, all the wood that was on the surface, all the dead pieces. And that was great to be able to wash off, because I hate when you add a piece of driftwood to an aquarium and then you come months later and you're finding all these dead pieces all on your substrate. I find that to be completely annoying. So using a pressure washer knocked that all out the way. Along with that, I got a lot of bugs out the driftwood that was in there, and hopefully I got most of the parasites that were on the surface. Now once I finished pressure washing the driftwood from the outside, according to what I thought was sufficient, I went to the next step, which was to go ahead and attack any parasites that may be within the driftwood, because these parasites, they are microscopic and they could be in the center of the driftwood, and I just want to give it the best treatment as possible. So keep in mind, this is during the summer. During that week we had temperatures in the 80s, which was very important. Normally in my aquariums, the way I treat fish that have any parasites. And as the first treatment that I do, I warm up the water to about 80 degrees Fahrenheit, and then from there I treat it with salt. Epsom salt, sea salt, any type of salt is good for treating parasites and immediately kills them. And what the heat does is just make the parasites a little bit more active. So I went and got me a trash can. I got some black bags because the trash can was dirty, so I didn't want the dirt from the garbage can to go and pollute my wood. So I went and got some bags to protect the wood from all the dirt that was in the can. I filled it with water. That day being 80 degrees, it brought the water temperature up. I put the driftwood in the can, and then I treated it with Epsom salt, and I allowed it to sit in there for about a week. And you know, I just took turns putting different pieces in there, twisting around, making sure I got all the edges. And in my opinion, this was the same as treating an aquarium for parasites. I warm it up with the nice temperature from the summer, and then I use the salt to treat it. Now here we are, maybe 3.5 months after that treatment, and obviously we have no problems. No parasites came from the wood, and no problem algae came from the rocks. Now, is this method as efficient as boiling it? In my honest opinion, no, and that's because boiling it is just an automatic death to whatever is being boiled, those high temperatures. But you know what? Who can provide a large enough pot for this type of decorant? So this is like your only other option, and in my opinion, it's the best way to go because I really can't think of any other way to prepare such large pieces of driftwood. Now, what about for those of you who don't have a pressure washer? What do you do? Now, if you don't have a pressure washer, but if you do have a garden hose, what I recommend doing is getting yourself a nice scrub brush, using that garden hose, and just putting in a bunch of elbow grease. I mean, you want to scrub it until that wood or that rock, whatever you're using, or whatever you're trying to prepare, you want to scrub it until it changes colors. You want to definitely put the effort into it. It's going to be a lot harder than if you had a pressure washer, but I know that not everybody has a pressure washer. So if you don't, you just use a regular garden hose and you just use elbow grease. Now, what if you don't have the summer temperatures like what I had for the salt treatment? If you don't have the heat like I had, like if you find driftwood in the winter, then that definitely changes things. I think the heat is very important because once again, that heat helps just bring the parasites alive a little bit. It makes them a little bit more active, which makes them a little bit more easier to be attacked by the salt. So if you're doing this in winter, I honestly don't know what to say. Probably just gotta wait for summer, or if you don't have the opportunity for summer, you probably want to go inside a bathtub or somewhere where you can get hot water and where it can stay hot over a period of several days. And lastly, what if you don't have a bucket or you don't have salt? If you don't have that, once again, I honestly don't know what to tell you. That's just the best way to treat this driftwood. Okay, everyone, so as always, if you guys have any other suggestions when it comes to treating such large pieces of driftwood, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. I know not only I like the advice you guys give me, I know other subscribers, they read, and other viewers, they read your comments, and we all benefit from it. So if you have any advice when it comes to treating large pieces of driftwood, rocks, etc., let me know in the comment section below. If you have any questions about what you saw today, feel free to ask me. Thank you all for taking the time to watch this video. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button because you already know a lot more is coming. And I'll catch you guys on the next one.